Hello and welcome. This is Angie with the CountryChicCottage.net here today with 3 fun projects for your Cricut machine that make great gifts for kids for Halloween. So this video is sponsored by Cricut, but all projects and opinions are my own. So the best thing about these 3 projects is that they really show the versatility of the Cricut Maker. So if you have the Cricut Maker, you definitely want to check these projects out. So the first one we're going to make is some cute little Coffin Treat Boxes filled with candy. So this is a candy treat. Now we're going to use the scoring wheel to score the acetate to fold it up into this little coffin. The scoring wheel works great for scoring acetate. And then we're also going to cut some iron-on and add it to cardstock. If you've never done that before, we're going to use our Easy Press 2 to do that. The second project we're going to make is some cute monster puppets. So we're going to make 3 different versions of this. Now, the felt cuts like a dream with the rotary blade on the Cricut Maker. So we're going to cut felt for these. And then we're going to apply the faces and the details with iron-on, again with the Easy Press 2. So stay tuned for the instructions for that. And then the third thing in this video, might be my favorite, not sure, is going to be a cute Halloween puzzle. So this is a chipboard puzzle. I'm going to try to hold it up because it is in pieces. So this is a cute chipboard puzzle made out of chipboard, and I then applied vinyl to the outside. So the chipboard cuts with the knife blade, and then I'm going to show you, and I dropped a piece, but that's okay. So I'm going to show you that the pieces come apart. So they're chipboard, and then they come apart, and then the kids can put them together. Now, you can add any kind of design you want on this one, on the front of these. So I added a name, but I have some with like pumpkin faces and fun things like that. You can put any design you want on the front. And then I use like a pattern vinyl to get a fun pattern on the back, but you can choose the finishes for that one as well. So let's get started on all 3 projects. The first Halloween fair we're going to make is this cute Coffin Treat Box. So to make this, you'll need your Cricut Easy Press. The Easy Press 2 in the smaller size is fine for this project. You also need some adhesive tape, clear tape, adhesive glue dot runner, something along those lines. Some everyday iron-on in white. Cricut foil acetate. I used the metallic sampler and I used the black and the dots, but there's a variety to choose from in the sampler pack. I also need some Cricut craft board. I'm going to use the black out of this pack, but it's a variety pack of white, craft color, and black. You also need an Easy Press mat, and you'll need something to cover up because we're going to be adding the iron onto the cardstock, and I like to add a protective layer when I do that. So I'm using a Cricut protective sheet, but you could also use parchment paper. And then of course you'll want some candy to put inside your little treat box. You want to get started by cutting your pieces. So the first pieces are going to be out of your foil acetate, and they're going to be the pieces for the coffin themselves, both a top and a bottom. Now you will need to cut this with the bottom side up. So the good side will be toward the mat, and that way when the scoring wheel scores on the acetate, that you can do your folds towards those score lines. Now, the scoring wheel is required for the acetate. I've had 0 luck scoring with the scoring stylus and the acetate, so I would definitely recommend the scoring wheel in this case. And then you can just remove the protective paper that comes on the acetate, and then just start folding along all those score lines, both on the top and the bottom. And they're super easy to find when you use the scoring wheel. And the next component you'll need for this project is the black cardstock cut into the coffin shapes. And then you'll also need your iron-on cut into the shape of a skeleton, and then you'll need to weed that. So I have a weeding tool here, not required at all, but definitely makes the process a bit easier. And this skeleton is super easy to weed. So you'll just want to weed away all the excess iron-on, as well as like his eyes, nose, and mouth from the center of that skull. And just make sure no pieces lift up as you're pulling. And if they do, the weeding tool also makes a great tool for that, to kind of push them back down into place if they start to pull up. Alright, and then we'll just want to weed our eyes, nose, and mouth. Do when I'm working with a strange material like cardstock is use something to cover it up, and in this case I'm going to use the Cricut protective sheet, and I just made sure that I was on the correct like front and back. And you just want to preheat it for a few seconds. Now we're going to follow all recommended time and temperature settings that are on the Cricut website for adding everyday iron-on to cardstock. And we're going to let the Easy Press do the work while slightly pressing down. Now we just want to flip our project over, press from the back for a few seconds. Then the Everyday Iron-On is actually a warm peel product, so we can peel that right up. And the iron-on is stuck right to our cardstock. Now let's assemble our Coffin Treat Box. So we're just going to use some kind of adhesive, tape, adhesive tape runner, that type of thing, to add adhesive to all the parts that join on both the top and the bottom of our coffin box. You also just want to flip this front over, add some adhesive to the back of it, and put it right on the top of your box. Then once both pieces are done, you can fill the bottom with some candy corn and add the top, and you will have a Coffin Treat Box for your trick-or-treaters. Next up, we have some cute monster puppets for another Halloween favor. So with this project, you're going to need your Cricut Easy Press. The small size Easy Press 2 is perfect for this. You'll need some embroidery floss. You'll need some everyday iron-on in both white and black, and then a wide variety of colors, any colors of your choice. You'll need some Cricut felt. I like the carousel sampler for the bright colors for this project, but any colors of felt that you would like. And I'm also going to use my Easy Press mat. The next thing you want to do is cut your pieces with your Cricut Maker. So these are the felt pieces, and I cut these with the rotary blade. And then I cut the everyday iron-on with just the fine point blade. And then I actually weeded the excess already. A weeding tool makes this super easy, but it is of course optional. And then you just want to use one of your felt pieces and lay out your design. Now you may have to trim these really close so you can get everything onto the monster and then press at one time. Now you'll get everything except for the black centers of the eyes, and we'll layer those in just a minute. So just place everything however you want it. And then we're going to heat up the felt for just a few seconds. Put the pieces down onto the felt and press with the Easy Press. Now we're going to follow all time and temperature recommendations from the Cricut website, and we're going to use light pressure while the Easy Press is working. Now I'm just going to stop my press, and I'm going to pull just the eyes up, and I'm going to add the black pieces of the eyes. So I stopped with about 5 seconds left on my timer. So you don't have to go a full press, but this time we will go a full press. Then we'll just turn our monster over, press on the back side, and then we can just peel away this backing paper. Now you will note that I placed the backing sheet for the white portion of the eyes back over the eyes before I press the second time, just to protect that iron-on during my second press. And now we'll just put the front and the back together. Use embroidery floss and a large needle and do a whip stitch all the way around 3 sides, leaving the bottom open. And then you'll have a fun monster puppet that you can give a little one for Halloween. So our next fun Halloween gift is this pumpkin puzzle. So the puzzle pieces are actually heavy chipboard, and as you can see, it comes apart and then goes back together. The supplies you'll need for this are a self-healing mat to make some cuts, some 2mm heavy chipboard from Cricut. You'll need a strong grip mat, some masking tape, a craft knife, and I also recommend some kind of spatula or scraper for the vinyl. Then you'll need some white vinyl as well as some pattern vinyl. Now we're using this great wood grain pattern, but you can use any pattern you would like. First we need to prep our chipboard for cutting. So this is a 2mm chipboard sheet, and then this is our patterned vinyl. So we'll just peel the backing off of the pattern vinyl, and then we're just going to stick it to the entire sheet of chipboard. So what this does is covers the entire sheet so that you don't have to worry about where your cuts are for your puzzle. So you can actually cut it anywhere on the sheet and the pattern vinyl will be there. So then I like to use something like a brayer, a scraper, this large spatula, that type of thing, just to make sure the vinyl is completely down onto the chipboard and that there are no bubbles. Now, the chipboard itself is 11 by 11 and the vinyl is 12 by 12, so you'll have some excess and we'll want to cut that away. So you can just use your self-healing mat and your craft knife and just trim away all that excess all the way around the 4 sides. Now, why is the chipboard 11 by 11? So when you cut with the craft knife on materials like this chipboard, you will want to be sure to move the star wheels on your Cricut machine all the way to the right. And the 11 by 11 material actually leaves room for those star wheels on the right. So that's why the material needs to be a little bit smaller than the mat itself. Alright, so now we have a piece of chipboard that is covered in vinyl, and now we want to add it to a strong grip mat. Now, we are going to add this pretty side down because the cleanest cut will actually be against your mat when cutting chipboard. So we're just going to add that. Now, we want to press it down well, make sure it's stuck well to the mat, but we don't want to bray it down or anything, which may be in some of your instructions for cutting with the knife blade. Why do we not want to bray it down? Well, we stuck that vinyl actually to the chipboard, and we don't want it lifting when we lift our project off of the mat. So, in order to get this stuck down really well, where it will not move in our Cricut, we're just going to use some masking tape and just grip the edges and rub it down really well on all 4 sides. And I actually just sort of tear my masking tape in half when I'm using this wide version, and that way I don't have to use as much, and half is more than enough to secure this down into place. So we've gripped the edges on all 4 sides. Now this is ready to be cut. So you can cut as many puzzles as you can from this, depending on the size of puzzle you would like to cut. You won't need to mirror it or anything because the front side will be fine. You will need to check your cuts occasionally when cutting chipboard. I recommend starting about halfway through. So chipboard is about 20 passes right now, and about 10 passes check and make sure that your cuts, if they're all the way through or not. If they are, you can stop cutting. Now, you can see more about checking your cuts on the countrystreetcottage.net. Look for knife blade tutorials. So the size that I use for my puzzles, I actually got 3 puzzles from one sheet, and then I removed them from my mat. Now, in order not to damage my mat, when my cuts were all the way through on most of the cuts, I went ahead and removed my puzzles. And then I just used my craft knife to complete any cuts that may not have been all the way through. You can absolutely go another pass or two over the course of the puzzle just to get all the cuts through, but note that it will go deeper into your mat in some places. And now I thought it would be fun to add some fun accents to the chipboard itself. So just out of white vinyl, I cut some pumpkin shapes, some letters for a name, that type of thing. And you'll just want to weed away any excess vinyl, including the centers of letters. Weeding tools make this super simple, but this is of course optional. And then to the front of the puzzle, while the puzzle's still together, we just want to add those letters. Now, the smaller you make your puzzle, the tighter these turns are going to be on your puzzle pieces, and the less successful your knife blade is going to be cutting them. So use caution with that when you're choosing the size of your puzzle. And also when you're placing your vinyl, let's not put them anywhere where those puzzle pieces are, just these straight cuts, and that'll make this process super simple. So we're just gonna, I'm actually not even using transfer tape. I'm just gonna peel them off the backing and place them randomly. And that way I can place them where I want them and not have to worry about them being over the top of one of those curved puzzle piece areas. And you can add whatever decoration you want here. This part is completely up to you. So you're just going to press those vinyl pieces down well. And then we're going to flip the entire puzzle over, and we're going to cut in these areas from the back to the front, cutting the vinyl where all the joints are. So remember what joints you need to cut. Flip your entire puzzle over, and then just run through those cut areas all the way through the vinyl, all the way to this self-healing mat. And then just turn your puzzle back over and make sure you got all those areas with the craft knife. You can go over them one more time if you need to on the front. And then your puzzle is ready for any little one on your Halloween list. So that was fun, right? Like 3 projects you can give to the kids for Halloween, from candy treat boxes in the shape of a coffin, super cute, to fun monster puppets that they can use for some pretend play, to great chipboard puzzles that they can work out. And these puzzles are actually in a pumpkin shape, so fun shaped puzzles. And these 3 projects really show like the versatility of the Cricut Maker, from the scoring wheel to the rotary blade to the knife blade. We used all 3 on the projects, so kind of a fun way to show everything you can do with the Cricut Maker. So I hope you enjoyed these. Be sure to give us a thumbs up on YouTube, comment below, tell us what you make with the Cricut Maker. What are you making this Halloween with your Cricut? We would love to hear that. If you want the cut files for any of these, head to thecountryshootcottage.net. I will link to that in the description for this video, so you can grab the cut files for those. They're all in Cricut Design Space, so super easy. Click and cut. So thank you so much for joining me today. Bye.